Arua Hill Sports Club when that saga of Mbabazi.
West Nile Television is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
One happening right at West Nile TV, and the whistle time continues instantly. But of course, on the big note, two of the Arua Hill players have been called into the national team of Uganda. That will be, of course, playing in a friendly match against Tanzania. That will be one of the biggest friendly that is coming up next. But of course, I'm talking about Alfred Leku, the top scorer in that is the Arua Hill team, probably will be the name I'm talking about. And then, of course, Vuni, who has also been one of the key players for Arua Hill Sports Club. He has also been called upon to see that he will be going to represent Uganda in that is the team against in the friendly match that will be in Tanzania. But of course, it's another interesting one. My name is Owen, and of course, couple of games in action today in the FUFA Big League. One is we will be getting right there. But of course, I have Oscar the Brazilian in the studios. Oscar, most welcome and good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much, and it's a wonderful day again today. Two players of Arua Hill summoned. I believe the analysis will be very interesting.
Why? It's another big one. Of course, we have seen very many times or several times that these players have always... you will have no doubt about them. Probably Vuni has been so phenomenal for the team. Leku has never missed scoring when he comes, although when he's out, Arua Hill feels his absence. So it gives you something that Micho has seen. I really need to do something, and that is what has come in. We shall be discussing about that. But of course, want to talk about the FUFA Big League games that are coming right on action today. And of course, a couple of games that come include, of course, the West Nile team, talking about Calvary Football Club. Before we go much in there, we'll be having the table, the fixtures of today's game on our screens right there, as of course a couple of things are going now. Of course, you have seen Kataka leading the table. They're also in action. Maroons are in action. A lot is happening, and that is the FUFA Big League that comes right on action. Before we get all that, let's start with the Calvary game. They go to Nyamitobora, and according to what is happening, Nyamitobora has 2 points in the league, and Calvary Football Club has of course 5 points. Winning this means that they will be get to 8 points, but of course it's one of the biggest things someone would be anticipating. You're going against the Hungry Lion, who has not yet or got any win, and they need this win, and remember they're at home. So what are you seeing, and how are you seeing this game? Like, it's going to be one of the biggest game, probably one would be turning focus to, because this is a decider for the two sides. If Nyamitobora wins, it's a very good one for them to go off that is that zone. And then of course, if Calvary wins, it also takes them a little bit in the top 3 right there. So these are two different things that are going to be happening today. But of course, in the two sides, I did see the lineups of Calvary Football Club with some changes. The likes of Malingumu already down. You've seen KD coming back into the play. That means in the previous game, you have around 3 names that have been substituted, and probably some changes that have come through in there. So all in all, let's talk about the game in general. How do you see this for Calvary Football Club and of course Nyamitobora? Where do you see the teams needs to maybe work upon to make sure that he gets a win there, or of course getting in there, because they went earlier and it's cold there unless you get used to there, and that's when you will be. Remember Kacheka, we have always known it for rains, and what if it rains? How are you going to be?
Calvary will not win.
Let's start from there.
If it rains, the whole point is that if it rains, Calvary will not win. That is number one. But honestly speaking, I think the team of Calvary has been a very, very great team. A team that has I think in the last game they learned a very painful lesson from the draw at home against Black's Power. I think that was a very big lesson they learned, because if they had won that game, then according to the mathematics, and with the game that they won away, and if they had also win against Nyamitobora, then they would be far. But it all comes to the coach. My key points for Calvary is one is about creativity in the midfield. Even before I go to the creativity, I want to come to the style of play. I have struggled to come to terms with which style of play has Calvary adopted, and are the players good enough to suit in this style of play? I think that's one thing I have always been asking myself, and I am still challenging myself. I want to see that identity. As a coach, what do you believe in? Time and again, I have seen Calvary playing a traditional 4-4-2. Better still, I would call it a flat 4-4-2. But is that the way Calvary wants to play? And for how long is Calvary going to play in that formation? Because it's just a basic type of a play where you just need two wide wingers, you need two full backs, and building of the play of the back and other things is not so much a priority in this. But Calvary is a team that has a vision to go further, a team that probably needs to be at one point a powerhouse. They've picked well from Nsamba boys from Yumbe. Now you see, if you are to talk about an identity of a place that literally everyone talks about in the world, Yumbe, and where the refugees are. The identity that comes there when you talk of a football club, you immediately think of Calvary. So Calvary should treat itself as a very, very big brand that has the potential. It's just up to them to make sure that they take this brand somewhere. And taking it somewhere means the step that they actually started by winning. Then they need to make this consistent to announce themselves. But coming to the individual players that I think Calvary should focus on. One, if I am told that Calvary doesn't have Malingumu Julius, I become worried. Because he's one of
Maybe before we get that, let me give you some of the names in that is the list there for Calvary. Maganda Sally starts as the goalkeeper as usual, and then of course you have Adrico Emmanuel, Atube Rogers, Odagio Khalid, Owini Ronald, Anda Masabir, Tabu Vitalis, Choka Julius, Kilama Dickens, Victor, and of course Norman Brown this time round starts, and KD Michael starts. Those two were not in the first in the starting lineup in the first game. So that means Malingumu's position is being taken by, that is KD Michael, the shot number 7, and then Norman Brown comes in right there. If you remember, it was the man by the names of Nelson who started the other time, and the captain also, Ahmed Ongo, is down.
Well, that to me is going to be a big blow because honestly, I have not seen the other center back play, not because they're not good, but because the captain has been consistent. He has really been playing his game.
Yeah.
And when you look at him, he's not so much a talented player, but he so much knows what is supposed to be done at the back. Though he does not keep the ball that much, but he also shows signs of being comfortable with playing the ball. And that is something that a coach instills in the player now. A player has the basics of how a game is supposed to be played, but as a coach, how do you want this player to function or to play in your team or to fit in your style of play? I think without him, I'm going to be seeing one thing lacking, especially the leadership ability at the back. I know Choka Julius will have the captain's armband.
Yeah.
But you needed, if both of them are on the pitch, is always a plus. Because they know what is supposed to be done. Now, him not being in the pitch leaves me with something to worry, because one, you're going away. You need to have your best players in the event that you're going to face.
But Khalid is somehow good also. You could see he's a player who has been also. If you look at the previous game, it was one of the biggest.
Yes, I know he has played the part. But if you try to compare him and Ahmed Ongo, you find that leadership ability in Ahmed Ongo is paramount. You could just see it from afar. But just like the coach has chosen that they're playing a 4-4-2 flat, it now calls for individual brilliance. Who are these individuals who are the key components of this team? Now, you talk of creativity. I have seen Calvary struggle in front of goal or with creating chances when they don't have Choka Julius in the game, which is something that the coaches need to work on if the January transfer window actually is open. You can't only have one reliable and experienced creative midfielder. You need to have at least 2 or 3 or even 4. You need to have options. I think that is where Calvary needs to actually get in. My other player that should have actually been performing well is Kilama Dickens. But the only challenge with Kilama Dickens is a self-centered player. He's a player who is not to me, I don't look at him as a complete team player. At one point, he gets selfish. I know as a striker, sometimes you're tempted, you want to score all the goals. But what makes your role so much very beautiful is when you play as a team. When you're in a position that you can't score, your teammate might be well positioned to get that ball at the back of the net. Before you think of yourself, first of all, ask yourself, are we already leading? If you're leading, then maybe you can start thinking about yourself. I think the coaches need to work on him, just like some other coaches have been claiming they've worked on their strikers and they're now doing well. Coaches need to work on him, for one, to improve his sharpness in front of goal, his ability to shoot outside 18. He only did that once against Arua Hill in that friendly. I would love to see him do more, because sometimes it calls for individual ability. You in the final third, in fact, as a center forward, can you shoot outside the box? Are you double-footed? Where are you positioned to score at any angle? I think that's where I need to see. And then Calvary need to work much more in who are these wingers who are going to swing the crosses in the box. Since you're relying you're going with the 4-4-2 flat. So who are these wingers to swing for you the cross in the box? But also another player whom I'm not so much convinced with is Thabo Vitalis. Thabo Vitalis' performance has been below par to me. I don't know. I've been following Thabo Vitalis, but ever since Thabo Vitalis went to Sudan, to South Sudan, and came back, Thabo Vitalis has never been the same. Remember, there was that allegation. He went to Sudan, signed some money, and just came back to Uganda. He just abandoned after signing the money. He abandoned and came back, and which is on record. And ever since then, he came to Onduparaka, started asking them. Since that time, Thabo's game has always been by how much am I going to get. So that means the passion for the game is slowly by slowly going out of Thabo, which is not a good thing for a player like him. At this point in time, if you find players like Thabo Vitalis and Choka Julius combining, they should be of so much benefit to that Calvary team, especially in the heart of the midfield. I would love to see Thabo challenge himself to get back, because the combination of the players that they have there is good enough to take Calvary to the UPL. But they need to do extra more, because they are the most experienced players in the team.
A very big game that will be coming on action, of course. A couple of them include, of course, Luwero United against Maroons is another big one that will be coming today. And then Chetume taking on Blacks Power is also another game that is coming right today. Chitara takes on Kataka, and that is another game. And then, of course, Media Proline is a live game. And you will be having Nyami Tobora against Calvary. Those are the games that come right there. Media is struggling so much after getting their first wins. Very many say they by surprise, but they have a lot of veteran players, but they're not performing. They got only one win, and that is what has kept them in there. They've kept losing, drawing, and that is where Media is. They're already in that zone that you could not expect them to be. What do you say about Maida Football Club and Proline this time around? Proline goes to Maida in that is of course, King George Stadium in Tororo.
It has always not been an easy thing to go to play in Malaba. I know Malaba Youth Development Association. That's
where
how
they even don't play there, because they come and play instead
they
in
come
Tororo.
and play. Yes, they come and play in Tororo, which is sometimes it works in your favor, but on the other side also works to your disadvantage. But Maida, I don't know what has happened all of a sudden. A team that has come from the UPL to come and start having that type of performance, you keep wondering, were they prepared enough? Because even if you're playing in the second tier, the club needs to show that they're good enough to compete. And having so many veterans in a game, I want to be specific that in the second tier of the league, if I were a coach myself, I would not think of having too many veteran players, because that is where I'm supposed to develop players. I don't care how long it will take me to qualify, but if I have the opportunity to qualify, I'll grab it. But I think that is the moment for developing your youth system. You get them into the squad, possibly if they have one to promote, after promoting them, because by that is the time that the youths give him their best. They're not going to be asking for these big monies. Which veteran is going to play for you for free? now, like there was a Tony Mweje playing at Police. Do you think Tony Mweje would have accepted to play for free for Abdallah Mubiru? It's not there. So it will be, these are people who are now in the evenings of their career. And this is a club that has barely not stayed for more than 10 years. This is a club that needs to be driven by the passion of the young footballers who, first of all, look at bettering their career than looking for money. I would think the game against Proline should be an eye-opener. They're playing at home in Tororo. Can they pull out a win? And remember, even Proline themselves have not been having a very good run. So Proline will be looking forward to getting a good result, yeah? against Maida. And I'm seeing it a very, very tight thing for Maida. And if they lose, their chances of getting out of the position where they are is going to be so minimal.
So it's a very big game that comes right there in the FUFA Big League, and probably I'll not be mentioning much about the FUFA Big League because a couple of things keep happening because of the FUFA Big League. Now let's move away from there and turn our focus to one of the big actions that probably keeps going. Yesterday you did say Express having a very good run, probably 2 goals in there to nil. But Express gave that note, of course, after losing for quite a long time. I don't want us to talk much about Express. I want us to talk about scenarios that have been happening in different games. Talk about this Nduparaka game recently. You saw another game was against Sports Club Villa.
Are you referring to Nduparaka Police game?
Yes, not Nduparaka Police. This recent
the one with Wakiso Giants.
Wakiso Giants. The question is, what exactly do referees make those mistakes genuinely? Why am I bringing this? Federation has charged and, of course, suspended some players from KCCA for issues.
The 5 players.
5 players. And coach Molly Biekwaso charged with 1 million. We'll be having a statement coming in from the statement the producer will be giving us that has come in from the Federation. That we have at least a screenshot of that. How Federation is saying these players have to pay 500,000 each, and they also suspended for some games that they will not be playing. Why? Because the man who got the accolade, I'm talking about Bobosi Biaruhanga's goal was said to not have entered or gone through, but the goal, it was a goal according to what you see. The referee did say it is a goal, and if you look at the video footages, you would say yes, it is a goal because it really hit the crossbar and then in the back of the net. But let's look at that Federation statement. 5 players are going to be suffering suspension, and then a coach is also supposed to pay. If you look there, I mean there are 4, and each is charged with 500,000 each. In the same breath, you will see KCCA head coach Moli Biekwas also suffer. If you scroll that up, you will see also another statement being given there. So it is really a very big one. But if you look at that, people, the names that are there, you have the likes of Anaku, who have been some key players at KCCA. You will see that really very many names that have occurred. So why is that? Is it the referee's error? Is it any other person's error? That is another question. Let's leave that there before we talk to discuss much about this. Let's look at that video at a Sports Club Villa Express. Sports Club Villa Express before we come to the Nduparaka Wakiso Giants, where you saw Mawa clinching a ball.
Senke.
Yes, in the hands of an opponent, but it wasn't awarded.
To give because he was onside. Oscar Mawa tries to thread in a ball. It looked like a handball. Again, the referee.
You will look at the review. You will see that that is a handball, but the referee instead left it in there. Okay, the referee left it and went through away. Let's look at this that we got at Greenlight Stadium. After this, look at this game. Look at the highlights. The keeper. Let's look at that highlights that came through in there. This is Greenlight. Now, Shaban gave the pass to Yakini and he was stepped. What did the referee say? Play on. Okay, you're seeing all those footages. Okay, those are 2 scenarios, and the third one is the other of Kambale. I mean the other one that has happened recently. So these are 2 different scenarios that have come in there. Probably you would say, even me if I saw, you would say, let's look at this one. This is a clear now highlight that came through in the Uganda Premier League. Just look at it closely. Mawa coming in there, trying to branch, teases one, and then he loses. Hits the hand. in the box.
That's a
And that
penalty.
is probably, you could say it's a penalty.
That's a penalty.
So these two probably would say it's sometimes good to have games live, and this time round you would say this is where things start. So the question is, do these referees do these things intentionally, or there's something attached somewhere? And Federation at last says it is correct, supports them.
No, I think I don't know what is happening to the Federation these days. But you and me remember that there was a game KCCA played. Oloya William was one who officiated that game. A goal was disallowed.
Yeah.
Oloya William was suspended for almost the entire season. He was only officiating games in the FUFA Big League. Not until the season ended. It had to even call for protest from the representatives of the region, West Nile region, to protest for Oloya to get back in the game. Otherwise, his career could have actually ended because of that mistake. Is it because he made the mistake against KCCA? That is a very, very big thing. Now, I want to start with this one of the Viper.
It is Express Sports Club Villa.
One, I have been a defender. I know what it means. Now, when you're going as a defender, and just like that one is intended. Because as a defender, what you do, you hide your hands. You hide your hands.
On your body.
On your body. So if it hits your hand, that now becomes a ball to hand. But where you swing your hand, that one is intended.
You're trying to stop, yes.
You're just intending to stop it. So I think in that scenario, at the referee, the game was, this is a live game. How do you really miss this? I thought, one, it brings me to the question, are the assistant referees always on point? Because this is where you're supposed to insist. Are you well positioned enough to see the actions that are taking place, especially in the 18-yard box? Now, like that one, I don't think he was even being blocked. So, to me, I feel that one was supposed to be a penalty. That is number one. The referee is supposed to be sanctioned.
Then the Onduparaka one?
The Onduparaka one is supposed to be a foul. And again, it brings to question. Because one, how it happened. The referee is behind where the action is taking place.
Exactly.
Now, what is supposed to happen is, where is the linesman's position? Because from that point, the linesman who is on the other side of the pitch, where the technical bench is supposed to actually be close enough to see an action like that. I don't think, now look at that, you could not even really miss that, honestly. But I think these are mistakes. I don't want to say that it's intended, but these are mistakes that are being intentionally left to go on. That was supposed to be a big foul. Probably that player was supposed to be cautioned. But someone would relate that, what about what happened between Richarlison and Tomiyasu in the Arsenal-Everton game? VAR had to rule that, okay, he did not intend. By the time now he was putting his leg, the player is already down. There was no way he could avoid.
Well, look at this one of Yakini.
But this one of Yakini, it was up. They are going in the air, challenging for the ball. But at the end of the day, the defender goes for his chest, which is very, very bad. Could have injured him. And you know, we don't have much as we talk about the Ugandan Premier League, that all players are insured. They have medical insurance. But I have not seen that take effect. Maybe FUFA is to prove us wrong. But all these situations should now show FUFA that there is a lot that needs to be done. One, I am happy that FUFA has not been taking it lightly when it gets to players misbehaving and coaches misbehaving.
Yes.
We've seen Mwaswa Bosa paying for it. We've seen
Okocha is here still
serving. Mole Biekwaso is going to serve.
Nakus are going to serve.
I agree that yes, this is one step to curb indiscipline, because if you don't do it, it's going to encourage others to do it. But now, what do you do to the coach, to the referees, having reviewed this? What do you do? Because you are as well supposed to serve by example. If Oloya can serve for all the season now, not being able to officiate in the top tier, but again maybe go to FUFA Big League and other things, that was a very huge punishment, for which he could have actually just been sanctioned and maybe I know once a result has been put, you cannot overturn. But maybe what you can do, maybe you can find somebody. So if you can go hard on the players and the coaches, what makes you relax when it gets to the issues of the referees? Because they are the ones who decide the game.
Do you think it's all about maybe, they will say there's scarcity in the referees in Uganda?
We don't have so many, yes, I
Yes.
agree. Those who are at that top level. Because every game at least will need to have about 4 referees.
Yes.
In every game. You have the center referee, you have the 2 assistants, you have the 4th official, then you maybe have a match commissioner. But all the same, you need 4 per every game. I don't think we don't have enough, but that is not supposed to be our problem. What is the federation doing about it? When you're getting into this, you're supposed to have that required numbers that we have. If you have them, if this one is making a mistake, why don't you drop him and you pick another person? First suspend him.
This calls me to have one of the referee probably in this show, and we see maybe us, the pundits, may not have seen it very well, but we need to have a referee to come and see this clip and find out, are these really in there? Then if it's yes, Federation, what are you going to do? What are you still waiting for? We're waiting for that statement and all these referees, because we want it for the betterment of these games, for betterment of Uganda football, and of course everything. Federation president did say it some time back, he wants the nation to be the leading in Africa. How do you lead when such scenarios are happening?
At least for us in Congo. Yeah, okay.
So we're waiting to see how exactly that will be getting a referee here and see how exactly he will be analyzing this. But it's one of the biggest thing probably happening in Uganda. Federation has to take really key note about that because it is viral. I've seen this several times. The previous game at Green Light, I did watch it. I saw a lot of errors that happened from the 4th officials, from the referees, from the match assessors, a lot. There was lack of coordination. But of course, you looked at a fans' perspective, someone would say they were biased. That is at fans' perspective. But of course, on our own view, yes, they are entitled to do everything because they are the last people to make it there. So it's one of the biggest thing happening right now. You could be talking about. But before we get off at this scene, of course, a couple of games will be coming tomorrow in the Uganda Premier League. Out of those games, you'll also be seeing a couple of actions with Arua Hill Sports Club, of course, away. And Oduparaka will also, they traveled yesterday, they will also be away. But before we get to a break, I would just love to see that there is also the rugby team that has been summoned in there around the names for that is the 2022 under-19 of course World Cup have been summoned, so Uganda will be representing in that. Let's take a break. We'll be right back to give you more of the in-depth analysis in that is the Formula 1. We'll be talking about a little, and then of course we'll also talk about the UEFA Champions League that is also there, and Barcelona, by the way, will be playing in the Europa League. What a move, what a moment for them, and that is one big thing someone will want to know. When last did Barcelona play in Europa? Have they ever played? Is another question somebody will be asking. Stay right to your TV and of course stay hooked to your screen. Don't touch that remote because a lot still coming in the whistle time.
West Nile TV. May you dare ingamwa.
To either be led and shepherded by Jesus Christ.
Radio Network. He is also with the West Nile Press Association.
You are and welcome to the Viewpoint on West Nile Television.
On the 19th of December 1993 and was ordained a deacon.
That is absolutely fantastic.
Hey, why aren't I up there? My heart, say you love.
Arua Hill Sports Club, when that saga of Mbabazi.
West Nile Television is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
West Nile TV. May you dare ingamwa.
Welcome to MPG Videos and Photo Studio Koboko. We are located on Transport Road in Koboko Municipality. We cover weddings, we cover introduction ceremonies, birthdays, we do documentaries, we also cover tours. We have photo frames of very many types. We have photo boards, we have photos in clocks. We also have graphics designs like plastic IDs. We have certificates. We have drones that you also use when you call us for your service. We may be waiting and other things and many more. You can come for all your services at MPG Videos and Photo Studio Koboko. Thank you.
Last time we had a very big team in the cricket and of course trying very much. We have seen the Aziz Daman cricket team that is doing very, very much pretty, and it's one of the biggest in Uganda that keeps pushing every time, and the cricket team is also trying to see that they need really to go now. In that is the ICC men's tournament under 20. You did also see them go in there, the Aziz Daman. They have been one of the leading probably in Uganda, also doing very, very much. Right now, Uganda, of course, has also set a cricket team that is going to represent, and that is the Under-19 World Cup that is going. Remember, they got their win recently after, of course, beating Tanzania. Now, this time round, they will also be going for the cricket. They have not been so much. It's the third time that they will be making sure they go. Nothing much big is talked about crickets. Why in Uganda?
You see, cricket is being viewed to be much more of a Muyindi's game than a sport that actually people can earn big from. But I think Uganda has actually been doing a lot when it gets to cricket, but not so much publicity has been garnered. One maybe could be because of how much is the Cricket Association doing in terms of publicity, in terms of bringing it to the grassroots level. You see, for any game to be appreciated and supported, you have to touch the heart of the community. I thought Aziz Damani, when you guys were there with one of my friends, one of my lawyer advocates, you guys probably should have pushed to have a cricket team in Arua. But I don't know what happened. Maybe the money is yet to be given, I don't know. But all the same, Aziz Damani came in, sponsored the current Arua Hill before they were rebranded. Was Dubs, but I think also the aspect of lazy journalism comes in. There are journalists who feel so much comfortable to cover football, maybe because that's the only game they feel, maybe the only game they follow, and that's why you can have as many as possible. And how much is the association investing in creating awareness, the publicity, and bringing it down to the grassroots level? I think these are factors that need to be put in together. But all the same, cricket is a very, very good game. It's so much popular in the not in the Middle East, but I think in Asia. That's why it's very popular. But all the same, I think it's a very, very good game that Uganda can take as one of the sports that should be so much sold to the community, and people are making it big out of cricket.
Exactly. Now, cricket is one of the key how big games are in there. And as I talk right now, the second edition of the ladies category, T20 Women's League, will be coming so soon. And that's where you'll be seeing also the Uganda elites are representing in there to go and represent these very teams straight away. But you also do have, of course, names probably could be talking about the likes of Rita, the likes of Scovia, the likes of Barbara, who are very, very good, who will be representing Uganda in right there. So these are some of the few things that are coming right there. But of course, we'll be also giving you more of the details that will always be coming straight from that is the cricket world. How are the teams doing? We'll always be giving them to you. Now let's go away from there and cross over to that is the Champions League games that were in action and see how exactly teams had. We'll be starting with the results of the games right on your screen right away, as of course a couple of teams did make headlines including, of course, Manchester United against Young Boys. We also did see Barcelona making headlines. What about Chelsea having it a 3-3 draw? That meant very, very big in there. Of course, couple of things that did happen before that. You did also see Manchester City on the Tuesday game were also not really at their best, but of course 100% record is also what Bayern Munich kept in their Champions League, of course winning all, and they gave no chance to any member of their group. Now let's have those. You have, of course, Juve taking on, it was against Malmo. Juve won 1-0. Zenit had a 3-3 against Chelsea, and Benfica 2-0 against Dynamo Kiev. And then, of course, Bayern, you also did see them have a 3-0 against Barcelona. Manchester United 1-1 Young Boys. Atlanta, the game was postponed to today. It will be at 6:30. And then, of course, Salzburg will be taking Sevilla, and Wolfsburg lost to, that is the team, of course, Lille by, that is 3-1. And now, Oscar, let's start from there. Of course, Barcelona are out of the Champions League. Round 16 comes straight very soon, and we're waiting for only that team that will be coming in there from today's game. But round 16 is another big one. Teams that have already picked that position have gone through. Barcelona is not among, and they will be going for the UEFA Europa League ever since 2004. 2004, around there, up now, they will not be really. How bad is that for Xavi? How bad is that for the Barcelona team right there?
Well, the last time I think Barcelona did not qualify could be in the early 2000, if not late 1999, early 2000, because I remember in 2004 they went to the final with Arsenal. They beat Arsenal. I think in that very year. But honestly speaking, I think it was 2004-2005 season. But truth be told is that it's a very disappointing moment for Team Barcelona. I expected, by the way, I went to BE Tips. I just went to put my money on Thomas Müller. I knew Thomas Müller was going to score. The last 8 meetings with Barcelona, Thomas Müller had never failed to score against Barcelona. And I was not surprised. Today, at least something good has happened for me, thanks to BE Tips anyway. But when you look at Barcelona now, Barcelona looks to be a very depleted side. That's why the post-Messi era, that transition we've always been talking about, Barcelona did not get it right. Because ever since Frank Rijkaard left, we thought Barcelona was going to struggle. Frank Rijkaard was a former player, yes. Then after Frank Rijkaard, they knew that there was a certain Pep Guardiola who had been a graduate of the team. He has been in the team. He played under Johan Cruyff with Michael Laudrup in that midfield for Barcelona. I expected ever since that time, Barcelona have always struggled to find which type of coaches or which type of players would come in and fit. Remember, there are several other players who, when brought outside, who are not so much in the La Masia Academy, a few of them actually succeeded. If you talk of a few players who are not in the academy, there was this French left back who is, I think, the director of football now at Barcelona, Eric Abidal. And then you talk of another player who did his best, succeeded in that team, was Dan Alves. Apart from Dan Alves, maybe the likes of Julian Belletti, maybe the likes of, to mention but a few, the likes of Charles Puyol and others really did that. Now after there, you look at the likes of Javier Mascherano, the likes of Yaya Toure, they are like Alex Songs. They came in, the Cesc Fabregas, they couldn't fit that much. So that should have showed to Barcelona that there's a way that team is supposed to transition with the product of how these players understand the tradition and how the club is actually how the team should actually function. And they kept on doing that. You also saw the likes of Bojan Kirkic. They could not so much fit into the game. He had to be sold to Southampton. Apart from that, there was Ibrahim Afellay, who I thought would be one of the biggest hits, did not. Also came back, came to Southampton. So from that time, I knew there would be problem for Barcelona immediately if these players starts wearing out. Remember, another player who was not in that team was David Villa, but David Villa had his success. Thierry Henry had his success. The likes of Zlatan did not actually make it. So after that, they brought in Luis Enrique. I did not see much more success of Barcelona under Luis Enrique because everything was like the team, players could even select themselves and play. You know, there's Charles Puyol, there's Gerard Piqué, you know, you're going to have Enrique Abidal, there's going to be the likes of Xavi, Iniesta in the team, and they will actually play.
And the last time, if you looked at when Barcelona, of course, at the Europa level was in 2004, and when, of course, they were under the man you said, Rijkaard, it was another big one. Xavi himself was in that team, of course, that's when you saw. And then 2000, 2001, just like you said, they also pushed in there. But in that level that they dropped, you saw in that, according to, of course, the papers and other things, you saw them in that manner. So, let's leave that there and look at the team. How will they feel playing in the Europa League this season? How will they feel as Barcelona, the Catalans?
Well, it will obviously feel bad. It will feel really bad for Barcelona to be, the great Barcelona to be playing in the UEFA Europa League.
They will even first go for playoffs.
It will be a very, very big, a very big disappointment. But to me, it should be a learning point for Xavi. Xavi should start it from there, starting it from scratch. Good enough, he has had that experience of playing in then Europa. But again, history has it that teams from Champions League don't really handle the pressure of playing in the Europa League. Europa League is very much harder than playing in the UEFA Champions League.
You still have more games to play.
Very, very hard. And I don't know how he's going to assemble his team within the shortest time possible to first of all accept that they're already in the Europa.
It's like you're starting a Champions League from the start.
So let them start from down there and make sure that they get somewhere. But as a young coach, as he is, I would love to see him make some changes in terms of signings, especially when he gets to the January. Because when you look at the way, he's the compatriot. The manager who beat him yesterday is much more younger than him, Julian Nagelsmann is much more younger than him. He went with the 4-1 formation yesterday. But when you look at the Barcelona now, you look at Jordi Alba, you look at Araujo, you look at Gerard Piqué, you look at Lenglet. The problem for me at Barcelona is that Barcelona seem to be having a belief that these players of theirs are good and will be good forever. A very serious manager would be looking at, how do I look at Barcelona past Gerard Piqué? Gerard Piqué will not be good forever. If Chelsea can afford not to renew the contract of Cesar Azpilicueta, what is happening? And by the way, on a sad note, Barcelona is also targeting Cesar Azpilicueta. Now you keep wondering, what is Barcelona up to? Back in the days, Barca would not go for players who are in 30s. Why did they have to let go of Ronaldinho at that age? Because they even knew that there was already a Messi coming somewhere. Now, a player like Jordi Alba has been like, ever since Eric Abidal left, they made that transition from then since. If Real Madrid now can think of not having consistently, not having this left back, this Brazilian left back who has been there with them. There's this guy with them.
Marcelo?
Are not having Marcelo consistently in the team. That should be showing that they want to look at life beyond Marcelo. Even these days, they don't look at having Luka Modric consistently in the team. He's a good player, but you need to have players, a plan that looks beyond these players. So that's why I want to see Xavi focusing on. How do you focus beyond the current players that you have now? I think that's where he needs to focus on.
Now, of course, leaving that there, Manchester United had a full swing of young players that they came into the team. Very many Manchester United fans were disappointed at first, but of course, later on, probably someone could say they really saw the young boys in there. It was a draw, 1-1 in there. What was Rangnick trying to bring out, or Sigido, to that is Manchester United and the fans?
Well, what Rangnick did, even me in that situation, I think I would do. First of all, Manchester United have already qualified. Whether they lose the game or not, they have qualified. Number two, I want to test my young players. Give them a big stage to perform. The other team is so much eager to beat you. Bring the young players to see how, if they can cope up with the challenges of playing at such a top level. I was happy because that's what I expected. I expected players like Jesse Lingard, the Donny van de Beek, and
Mata was there.
Mata, the Mason Greenwood. Everyone needs to be given an opportunity to express him or herself. Remember, this is a new start under a new manager, and the manager would want to find which other players can I bring into the team. By the way, we have actually been talking a lot about having Sancho playing well. On the other side, the two wingers are doing well, but we have actually been putting Mason Greenwood outside the context. And this is a player who is always evergreen. The last time he featured was in the Manchester derby, and he had not featured since then. And it is good that he announced himself with a very, very good win. And United, on the other side, did not lose the game, much as they were doing experiment.
Yeah.
They did not lose the game. I was happy that the boys are showing a lot of potential. So I was convinced that United has a very, very good crop of young players that they can actually make a transition in that game. Today, if you don't, if you don't have Mason Greenwood, the other players who can come from the academy.
Shoretea, the Amad Diallo,
the Langas, they really did well. And I think, yes, that was that. And I think the coach has now gotten the picture of what exactly, how these players can actually play. I think that was a plus for me yesterday.
It's a very big one. Of course, Chelsea also, Thomas Tuchel says he's disappointed in his players, and things are not what he's expecting. They were almost to lose, but of course got in that draw later on. Is Chelsea trying to lose something in their consistency?
Well, it's just sometimes it's what is called complacency. It's a bad thing. I think that's where Chelsea is getting to. But I am also happy that Chelsea didn't lose the game, because they could have actually won the game. They went 3-2 up, then later on they had to let go of that. But I think the problem for Chelsea now is lying at the back. Remember, they let go of Kurt Zouma. You find in the back three, Thiago Silva is a very old man now, at the age of 36, going to 37. you will probably be looking at the likes of Christensen and Rudiger, and then in the wing backs, maybe Reece James is still a young blood, but you look at Cesar Spilicueta, is getting old. But again, in the midfield, I think sometimes I question myself, can Chelsea really do well without N'Golo Kante? Because in the midfield, he really does a donkey work. But all the same, you could be disappointed. One, I understand from his perspective, he wanted to be seated top. Because when getting into that game, Chelsea and Juventus were on level of points. So they needed to win. And Juventus won 1-0. That means Juventus went as the team on top. So Chelsea was now number 2, which could have been a very big disappointment for them, because having won against Juventus, then you come and lose, you come and actually get, and you narrowly actually lose to a team in the shape of Zenit. You could be disappointed, but I think for now, that's what he has. He needs to actually go with them until January transfer window. And making signings in January is not always easy.
Let's look at this and wind it up with the Formula 1 and probably the Champions League. We'll be having a game today at 9. Of course, Villarreal will be having their game today. So 9, you can watch that game. But let's turn our focus away from there and cross over to the Formula 1, where, of course, actions are returning on, of course, big games on, that is this very Sunday. That will be the last, of course, last probably drive you would see in the Formula 1 in, that is, Abu Dhabi. But of course, after a very big one now, the two drivers, Verstappen and the man Lewis Hamilton, are level in points, 369.5, and the two all go in for that. Lewis equalized in the Saudi Arabia, where he has never lost, and he is looking forward to see that he needs really the 8th win in the world, become the 8th champion, getting that trophy. But of course, if you look at Verstappen, he's looking for his first ever world champion record in there, and this is how they have been in, that is the Abu Dhabi. So that is how the history shows, and probably you will see that Lewis Hamilton has an upper hand ahead of this Abu Dhabi, of course, drive that they will be going in for. Very big one. You said off air that you don't really have to miss
my
that.
phones will be off.
So let's start from there.
I really want to be watching.
Mercedes and Red Bulls take it again?
Honestly speaking, I know there are fans of Mercedes and the fans of Lewis Hamilton there. But I am so much passion. I have so much passion for
Verstappen? For
Max Verstappen. I am also, because now this guy has overwon. Mercedes always. I would like to see somebody from when the season started. I wanted to see somebody who is going to challenge Lewis Hamilton, and I got that in Max Verstappen. Now, Max Verstappen, I don't know what happened along the way. At one point, he was almost like 9 points clear.
Yeah.
But slowly by slowly, Lewis Hamilton, you know, sometimes they say experience.
Yeah.
He started bridging in the gap. Now they're on the same level of points.
And the final.
And that means now it has put Lewis, Max Verstappen is under serious pressure. He needs to win at all costs. Right now, he has 9 podium wins. Then for Lewis Hamilton is 8. So that's where probably the advantage stands it for him. And the only thing for him to do is to win. I think I would borrow a leaf from.
In fact, he has 9 wins, but he has 17 podium wins, and then 16 has Lewis.
Yes. So I want to see what Nico Rosberg did to win against Lewis Hamilton happen, especially this Sunday. I'll be so much happy to see my man Max Verstappen win.
So you've taken side already?
I have so much passion for him. I have so much passion for Max Verstappen. And I will not say it's absolute that he's going to win, but I would love to see him win.
Just
that
for
is me. I would love to see him win. But also, even if Lewis Hamilton wins, that would be good. But I would love to see Max Verstappen win.
Thank you so much, viewers, for keeping it right. West Nile TV at the Whistle Time. As the Whistle Time, as probably the time is not the best ally, but of course we want to say it has been a very nice time having you on the show. But before we wind that up, Oscar, probably my people in Pakwachi, don't forget about them. That is the Alur, and of course my people in Paida Nebi. Tell them something.
I know. Your friend, the other netballer.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends. I have very many friends that side.
Anyway, we will take time to visit them. Anyway, for Dano Cheke, Mautika Neno Whistle Time, West Nile TV. enitie kare ma wamiku iri lembe cheke ma imitu kaninge lem tugu owechi kum lembe madupa ma ikin gi lempa mopira me fofa big league o wechi kum Uganda Premier League wechi kum Formula 1 wechi kum Barcelona mbachi tugu Europa ma mandoro Bayern Munich go gade ki witongwenu ogamuke tu ju relegating in gidok i Europa magi bechi tugu o kwa ini bet kudwa manke kai miru kan timu koloka ngenya i binu i West Nile TV Weatherhead Park Lane ya Rua City nyoke go simu i namba mutekani wotu ite screen peri manke itim kudwa koloka sama endi bei mayote.
Okay, modi pele yemi na wafo angiri hada sibida manese hala dividi yemi nikini michwa mesudi ama app itakense simu malia michwa pwede chimi ni muzura malia mi download the Star Times ma app michwa za mesuzu mbele yarora marindo ndo yemi na manesuru malia hama yemi nikini de adansi West Nile TV Wiso Timers marudi ni mavidi yemi ne awadi 4 yemi ni amane o dudia sedesi. Thank you so much. Let's take this to the next level as a couple of games come, but of course remember to always subscribe to our YouTube channels and at the same time channel 477 on our Star Times decoders, and not forgetting of course at the same time on our of course the app. We are right there. Just go download it and type West Nile TV, get it right for you to watch West Nile TV wherever you are in Uganda or elsewhere. But of course that is one of the biggest things. Let's have the blessed one, but of course don't forget to bet with BE Tips. Just go to www.betips.win and you will be a winner instantly. Good afternoon.